we have moved on to the cell salt silica. And I just want to say, firstly, it's important with all salts and any kind of medicine not to self-prescribe. Really important to see practitioners who know their stuff and to get diagnosis, because especially with all kinds of medicine, and this goes for alternative medicine and herbal medicine particularly, they're all irrelevant unless you understand diagnosis. Everyone's individualistic, and we can have general signs and symptoms which may help, but it's important to always see an experienced practitioner. I just thought I'd let that get out there because I've done quite a few of these videos now, and I just wanted to make that clear, which I haven't in the past. But moving on to the salt silica, this salt is incredible. It eliminates toxins, it organizes and reorganizes calcium metabolism, and prevents suppuration, that being infection. So when we've got wounds that have been infested and they get infected, this is when this salt is indicated. And these wounds can be a number of things, but there's going to be a lot of pus infection and particularly certain smells. Like people with smelly feet, sweaty feet, clammy hands, things like this are really in need for silica. Or they've got a smell or a certain odor about them. But particularly things that get infected to the point where I see a lot of people recently in clinic have had a bit of dental work and they've had these really bad sinus infections, haven't been able to clear, been on a lot of antibiotics, things, they're festering, they're starting to really, when people blow their nose, there's this this stench to it. This is one of the really key indicators for silica. Also, it relates to, from a Chinese medical point of view, you can apply silica particularly with probably a few other salts, such as ferrum phos and nat phos, for what we call B syndrome, which is a combination of wind, cold, damp in the body. Silica actually, in the sign of Sagittarius, on that astrological level, has the astrological body correspondence to the hip, the sacral and pelvic bones, the buttocks, the femur, and particularly the sciatic nerve. It's also connected to the liver on one level, and also the higher mind. Sagittarius, the reason of the arch is firing its arrow. Where's it firing it to? To the center of the universe. So it's about expanding your big vision, your big scope, opening your mind to higher levels. Silica can be indicated for this, particularly for people who... the reason I'm talking about the mind here is because sometimes when people start becoming deficient, they can also have memory loss. So that there is a connection with silica to the mind. So the reason I was talking about B syndrome is because in Chinese medicine, that combination of wind, cold, damp, hip pain, sciatica, that can be used for extremely well. And like with the infection, it relates to the fire toxins as well on some level. Because any kind of infection, pus, with smelly exudation, things like this, it's a considered fire toxin. So in terms of the face diagnosis, silicas will present with someone with the wrinkles, the crow feet wrinkles around the eyes and the parallel wrinkles around the ears. They'll also have the shrunken eyelids, so the eyes will look deeper into the skull than usual. And it's really obvious when you see that in clinic. And there can be a redness around the nostrils, just around here, on the outer skirts of the nostrils. And pretty much the organ tissue affinities are the skin, hair, nails and glands, bones, connective tissues, nerve sheaths and mucous membranes. And on the psych level, silica is very much indicated for hypersensitivity, but also people who are quite timid and extremely shy. is an indication for silica. And silica is a mineral that it takes a long time to build up over time. So it's important to chip away at it. It's one of the key ones I've found for tinea infection in combination with Kali sulf. I myself have used it for that when I couldn't get rid of a tinea infection I had on my foot after taking my son to a pool one time, and it was really, really stubborn, and I combined those two salts together. It was phenomenal. Over a period of time, I think it took probably 3 months, but it's definitely gone, which is good. So yeah, so other things with silica, there can be, the skin can be a little bit fragile, there can be scarring. Any foreign objects that's stuck in the body, like little bits of glass or splinters, ingrowing toenails can be indicated for this because it can push things. It moves foreign substances out of the body. This is why you need to be very careful with this. There's a lot of people ranting on about silica and how great it is. And I think this is one of the powerful things about the salts is on that level, it's more the homeopathic medicine. And we've got to understand too, homeopathic medicine holds our body at a certain frequency. So this is a very important thing to understand. The tongue diagnosis involved with silica can be the swelling on one side of the tongue, which I haven't seen that so much, but occasionally I have. There can be a brownness on the tongue, but most people usually have this from antibiotics or these kind of medications. And the tongue can sometimes have ulceration, and it can appear hard or stiffened as well. And with the nails, you'll see the nails have these usually longitudinal crevices in them. It's very good for prostatitis in men, hard lumps in the breasts. Another key one for ulceration of the throat, tonsillitis, tuberculosis, pneumonia, and particularly quinsy, really good. Trigeminal neuralgia, the facial pain, and splitting of the hair ends as well. And there's a few other things you can use it for, which I haven't, which I've taken note of over the years: a hernia and scarring and scar tissue. So that's pretty much in a nutshell what silica is. It's ruled by the sign of Sagittarius as well. And Sagittarius is the philosopher, and it rules the higher mind, the 9th house in astrology, which is open knowledge, open higher knowledge. It connects to the fire, the mutable fire sign. So it's adaptive as well. It's not fixed. And it's an important salt to understand, but you need to use it sparingly. Particularly, you don't want to go too hard with anything to do with silica, because it can pull foreign substances out of the body. So if you have screws from surgeries, from broken bones, things like this, you just need to be careful, because it can draw these things out. It's very, very powerful on that level. So that's it for silica, and we will move on to, I'm a little bit behind on my part 2s at the moment. I've just had a few other things going on, but I'll catch up with those, particularly with Scorpio. But we'll move on to Capricorn. Thank you for listening.